Okay, hello guys. I was grading your quizzes, the planning your comparison and contrast essay quizzes, and to be quite honest, I am concerned. So I thought I would record a video explaining the prompts and explaining the instructions, and hopefully that'll help you better approach this assignment. Okay, so this is the PDF that you guys have on Canvas. It is posted in last week's module as well as in this week's module. All right, so you can just go to whichever module you like best and read the PDF. Okay, so these are the instructions. Choose one of the following prompts and develop it into a 2 to 3 page comparison and contrast essay. If your essay is 2 pages long, make sure that page number 2 is typed at least halfway through. All right. Um, Before you begin, determine your purpose. This is very important because this is going to determine your points of discussion. What's your purpose? What is it that you are trying to prove? Make sure that your essay has a thesis statement and make sure that you use the subject by subject strategy to organize your essay. The essay is due Sunday, October the 17th by 11:30 p.m. All right, and I just opened the portal in this week's module for you to turn it in there. All right, so this is prompt number 1. Suzanne Britt is the author of Neat People versus Sloppy People. Following her example, write an essay in which you compare and contrast two apparently dissimilar groups of people. Your approach may be either lighthearted or serious, but make sure that you come to a conclusion about your subjects so that you can formulate an argument regarding these two dissimilar groups of people. All right, so you are going to choose two apparently dissimilar groups of people. Apparently dissimilar meaning that they are different, that they are opposites, right? Look at the list that I gave you over here. They're different and they're opposites: early birds and night owls, or people who wake up early in the morning and are morning people, and people who are night owls, who work or prefer to work until late at night. Vegans and omnivores, people who follow completely different opposite diets. One is based on vegetables and plant or is plant-based, and the other is not. The other includes meat and animal products. Again, smokers and non-smokers, completely different. A group of people that smokes and a group of people that does not smoke. So the groups that you choose, your subjects, the two subjects are going to be two different groups of people. I have been getting submissions comparing and contrasting animals, comparing and contrasting things like winter and summer. I don't know why. It clearly states people, so your subjects need to be two groups of people. All right. And I even give you a hint over here as to how to formulate your thesis. You can state in your thesis which group you favor and why, or which group is, I don't know, more efficient, or whatever applies to the groups that you choose. If you're writing about early birds and night owls, you can argument that one of these two groups is more productive than the other. Like it depends on the groups that you choose and what you want to prove. All right. So again, we're talking about people over here. All right, two groups of people. Those are going to be your subjects. Prompt number 2. In her essay, We're Not, Andrea Roman writes of differences with her mother that frustrated her, but that also helped her form her sense of identity. Write an essay where you compare and contrast yourself with one of your parents. Don't be afraid to follow Roman's lead and talk about how those differences between you two have helped shape you into the person that you are today. You may also choose to focus on similarities between you and your parent that have shaped you. Your thesis statement should offer insight or your opinion regarding the relevance or significance of your findings. So you're comparing yourself to your mother, for example, or comparing yourself to your father, and you have found that there are, I don't know, differences between you two. What is relevant about those two differences? What is after you know contrasting yourself to your father? What have you concluded? What is your finding? That's going to be your thesis statement. And again, here are the instructions. I clearly state, write an essay where you compare and contrast yourself to one of your parents. So that means that one subject is going to be you, and then the other subject is going to be one of your parents. All right. Number 3, write an essay in which you compare your upbringing to that of Chua's daughters. Were your parents Western or Chinese parents, or were they a combination of the two? In your essay, take a stand on the question of which kind of parent is superior and explain why. Use examples from your childhood to support your thesis. And here are your subjects. Write an essay in which you compare your upbringing to that of Chua's daughters. So one of the subjects is going to be you, yourself. And then the other subject is going to be Chua's daughters. So this means that you need to read the essay because she describes her daughters there, or how she brought up her daughters in her essay. All right, so you need to read the essay here, and you need to quote the essay and all that. And then you're going to focus on your upbringing, how you were raised, and how Chua raised her daughters. And then you're going to determine if your parents were Western or Chinese. Did they raise you following a Western method, like Chua describes in her essay, or did they raise you following a Chinese method, like Chua discusses it in her essay? Or maybe they used a mix. In your thesis, you're going to take a stand and you're going to state which approach they used, Western or Chinese, and you're going to then determine or state which one, what kind of parent is superior or the best, and then explain why. Right? So that thesis statement is going to look like um, something like, let's say, my parents raised me following a mixture of the Western and Chinese methods, and this is the best method because, and then you explain why. That would be your thesis statement. So notice that I'm giving you hints, right, as to how to formulate your thesis statements, and I'm also giving you hints about your subjects. Right? So you have those already in the prompt. Basically, you have to choose a prompt and then come up with your points of discussion. All right, remember that your points of discussion need to be tied to your purpose. What are you trying to demonstrate? What are you trying to prove? Your points of discussion need to help you, obviously, prove what you need to or want to prove, right? All right, so here are the specifics. Your essay needs to be at least 2 pages long. Remember, if you choose to write 2 pages, the second page must be typed at least halfway through in order for it to count. Please do not write more than 3 pages. That's too long. Follow MLA format, so double space your essay all throughout from the very first word down to the last word, double space it. Choose Times New Roman size 12 as your font. Again, from the very first word to the last, including the running header, Times New Roman size 12. Remember that there are guidelines for the heading and the header or running header, so make sure that you review that. We already discussed that for essay number 1, and also you follow the same guidelines for your assignment on Chairman Alexi's essay and the last assignment on We're Not and Need People and Sloppy People. So you're already should be familiar with MLA format. Make sure that you indent each paragraph. Make sure that every paragraph is thoroughly developed. We already talked about unified, coherent, and developed paragraphs. If you need to review that, the modules are open on Canvas. You can go back and review. Remember that we said that every paragraph needs to be at least 7 sentences long, and that includes the introduction and the conclusion. And I think it was last week or the one before, week 7 actually, where we covered some strategies for developing introductions and conclusions. So if you are need to review that, need a little help developing your introduction or your conclusion, you can go back and review that. Make sure that you indent each paragraph. Make sure that you have a title, that your essay has a title, and that the title is interesting and informative. So things like essay number 2, or comparison and contrast essay, or smokers versus not smokers, these are examples of titles that are not good enough. They're not informative. They're not insightful. Right? So please use your creativity and um, provide or give your essay a title that is informative and insightful. All right, so here's information on the paragraphs. We already went through that structure. Make sure that your essay has an introduction, a paragraph for introduction, at least 2 paragraphs for the body, and then a paragraph for the conclusion. The introduction, here's what you need to have in your introduction. You need to mention your 2 subjects. You need to state clearly your points of discussion. I think that 2 points of discussion for this essay should be enough. Since you'll have 2 subjects, you can use the subject by subject strategy and dedicate 1 paragraph in the body of your essay to subject number 1, and then the other paragraph dedicated to subject number 2. That should be easy. Remember to match the points, right? So if you discuss, I have this down here, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but nevertheless, make sure that you match your points. So if you are comparing and contrasting smokers and non-smokers, and your points of discussion are health and appearance, you need to discuss health and appearance for smokers, and in the next paragraph, health and appearance for non-smokers. Right? So remember to match your points. All right, so back to the introduction, your points of discussion. Make sure that you include also in your introduction the thesis statement. I give you here some pointers, I guess some questions that you can use to evaluate your thesis statement. Make sure that you have in your thesis statement some kind of judgment or opinion. That's going to help you have an argument, all right? Some questions to help you get there are: why is it important to know what is the same and what is different about the 2 subjects? How does the comparison enhance our understanding of the separate entities or of the 2 subjects? Or how does the contrast enhance our understanding of the 2 subjects? What do you think about the similarities that you found? What do you think about the differences that you found? Um, what are you trying to prove? What do you think about your findings? Why are they important? Right? So I'm trying to, if you notice, I'm trying to get to know what you think. That's your opinion, your judgment, right? That's going to be in your thesis statement. The body of your essay, at least 2 paragraphs, 1 for each subject. Use subject by subject or block strategy. I discuss points of discussion here. Remember to match them. Remember to use transitions also throughout your essay. I'm looking for at least 3 transitions, but you can definitely use more. Here are some popular transitions for comparison and for contrast as well that you can use in your essay. Um, and the conclusion should be just a wrap up, kind of you, again, pardon the redundance, but wrapping things up, concluding, and just leaving your reader with, I guess, the main points that you made. Right? If you want to restate your thesis, you can. Notice that I'm saying restate, which means reword. You cannot copy paste it from the introduction to the conclusion. You have to find a new way of saying it. All right. And lastly, remember to go through the steps of the writing process. It's going to help you it's going to help make the process of writing an essay easier and more manageable. So give yourself enough time, first of all. Give yourself time to brainstorm, to come up with ideas, to then organize those ideas, and then write a draft, right, where you shape those ideas into an essay. Give yourself time to revise your essay. Pay attention to the ideas, how coherently you present them. Does it make sense? Is your argument easy to follow? Are the points matched? All that goes in the revising stage. And then in the proofreading and editing stage, then you know that you can focus on grammar. Pay attention to fused sentences, comma splices, run on sentences. What else? Pay attention to apostrophes. Are you using apostrophes correctly? We have covered this in class already. If you need to go back in the modules and review, you definitely can. You have it there on Canvas. Make sure that you're using semicolons correctly. Remember that semicolons are used to unite or link two complete sentences. All right. Before and after the semicolon, you need to have a complete sentence on each side. It cannot be a fragment. There cannot be fragments anywhere. Fragments just don't go anywhere. Revise the use of capital letters. You do not need to capitalize the names of your groups in your paper. I explained this on Canvas. I'll show you in a bit. Actually, I'll show you right now. All right, so I explained here on Canvas. I give you pointers for the essay, which is pretty much what's already been stated in the instructions, but please do review it. I also provide some examples of thesis statements, and I explain why these do not work, mostly because none of them have a judgment or opinion in them, an evaluation, your insight, or the insight of the writer. It's not there. All right, so please do read these examples and my explanation. And what else? I do touch on the structure of the essay. So this is a visual of how it should look like or what it should look like. It should have a paragraph for the introduction, two paragraphs for the body, one paragraph where you discuss everything about subject one, and the other paragraph where you discuss everything about subject two. 2 points of discussion are good for a short essay. If you want to do three, it's okay, but you might end up with a longer essay. Just make sure that you don't surpass 3 pages, right? Don't go over 3 pages. Make sure to match the points, and then the last paragraph should be your conclusion. The steps of the writing process, and here's where I go into the use of capital letters. You do not need to capitalize your subject throughout your essay. So for example, this sentence over here is wrong. Smokers and non-smokers are completely different people, because it's wrong because you do not need to capitalize non-smokers. I will be comparing and contrasting introverts and extroverts. You do not need to capitalize introverts and extroverts. Remember that these are common nouns, and you do not need to capitalize common nouns, all right? Unless it's over here at the beginning of the sentence, then you know that you need to capitalize the first word of a sentence, regardless of what the word is, all right? We always capitalize the first word of a sentence. Um, what else? You're not required to do research for the essay. You can rely on your own experience or your own knowledge, your own observations. But if you decide to consult any source, whatever source it is, a book, a website, whatever source, you need to cite the source, and you need to know how to do this following MLA format. If you don't know how to follow MLA format and you don't want to get into that, you don't need to, you don't have to, because you don't have to do research. What else? So the introduction, how to develop an introduction and a conclusion, that's discussed in the module for week 7. You can go back and check it out. In the module, I give you or provide you with the website for the link to tutoring services. You can definitely look up the tutoring services and give your paper to someone else to read. It's a great idea. If you need help developing a thesis statement, if you need help planning your essay, brainstorming, the Writing Center can help you with that. All right, guys. So I hope that this helps. If you have any questions, you know that I have Zoom office hours Mondays and Wednesdays from 10:30 in the morning to 12:30 noon. And as always, you can also reach me through email. I will be grading your how to plan or planning your comparison and contrast essay quizzes. I think I should have everything graded by Wednesday. Please review the feedback that I will leave there. Um, Read it before writing your essay, okay? Because I'm seeing a lot of errors and like misinterpretations of prompts. Okay, so make sure that you review that feedback. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. All right, that's all from me. I hope this helped. Thanks for watching. Bye.